Hello everybody, and welcome to the first ever live stream on the Code Wrinkles channel this year, 2023. Hopefully it will be a good year. And I really want to take the opportunity to first really wish you a happy new year to all of you. And thank you very much for joining, of course. Now, for those of you who might have also watched the other streams, I have a new setup here with my microphone. So I hope the sound is a little bit better than it was previously. But yeah. Cool. So I guess you already know what this is about. We're building a chess application basically using .NET and therefore also Blazor and Blazor Server. Happy New Year, John. Thank you very much for joining. And I would really appreciate if you could take just a second to say hi and let me know where you are watching from. For me, that's kind of like a very, very nice thing because the whole world seems a little bit smaller when I see people joining from different locations, different countries, different continents, sometimes even with big time zone difference. So it feels kind of like a little bit cozier and smaller. And I would appreciate that. Cool. So don't know even where to start exactly. So last time out, we did implement our login and register user parts in the application, and yeah, let me just run the application first. And see exactly what we already have, because we have already a chessboard. We are using chess.js and chessboard.js. So kind of like we are doing a little bit of JavaScript, because those are some libraries. Guess there was a short interruption. Not sure exactly why. But yeah, let's see. As it tends to happen on live streams, things get a little bit crazy. I'm not sure why it's not really loading. Let's bring this here in this browser. Okay, so you see we have the chessboard already, and we are able to kind of like move around. We can do only legal moves. This is based on the chess.js library, and the board is rendered by the chessboard.js library. And yeah, that's kind of like it. And we have this login and log out. And I see that I'm already logged in because probably, well, the authentication cookie is still here from the previous live stream. So that that should be okay. Now I am logged in with user@example.com. I guess I need to remember that. Okay, let's see what other comments do we have here. Daniel Spindler, thank you very much for joining from Australia. It's 4 a.m. in the morning now. Thank you, I really appreciate that. But as you are also a Code Wrinkles member, you can also watch the video on demand anytime afterwards, but I really appreciate that. And by the way, Daniel is also a chess player, so he's very interested in chess. Then to Farik, hi also, and Ravi from Delhi, India. Thank you very much for joining. I really appreciate you being here. Cool. And by the way, for those of you who might subscribe now, or if you are not subscribed and you can't use the chat, you basically need to be subscribed to be able to use the chat. And if you subscribe to the Code Wrinkles channel, theoretically, there should also be a nice animation thanking you very much for the subscription. The same happens if you kind of like, well, become a member of Code Wrinkles. So if you join with one of the membership levels, and if you do a donation. So theoretically, we should see every time an information on screen. Hello, having a grid on Blazor like the chessboard, how do you retrieve the XY values you clicked on? As said, Sebastian, this chessboard rendering is not done by Blazor. We are using two JavaScript libraries for that. One is chess.js, which is the chess rules engine, let's say, which allows us to only perform legal moves, and the board rendering in pieces is actually done by another JavaScript library, which is called chessboard.js, and we have integrated them in our Blazor application. And we kind of like just use these libraries through JavaScript interoperability. Hello, Zerg. Thank you also very much for joining. Cool. So we have this now. What I want to go forward, as I was saying that initially in the very first live stream, I said that we want to build something that should look a little bit similar to lichess.org. So today I would like to kind of like start replacing all these standard templates that we have here from Blazor with something that looks similar to this part. And for that we'll kind of like use a MudBlazor. That's why I already have this opened here. And we'll try to kind of like, well, install MudBlazor, work with it, and try to implement a page that is similar to this one. Of course, it will not have all the elements at the beginning. We're probably just focusing on these cards that you should click to be able to kind of like start a new game. And that's probably what we'll focus on today. So yeah, let's maybe start working on this. Let me close this page and let me bring up once again our IDE, our Rider IDE. Cool. Now, so we already have login and logout. I want to close the entire area here. So let's start by kind of like installing MudBlazor. And let's go step by step here. So, first of all, we need to do the following things. Where should we start? Manual install. Okay, we need to add the MudBlazor package. Cool. Let's just do that. So let's go here. Where's my Blazor application? It's. Did I call this app? Yeah, I was not too inspired probably. Just call this app. But yeah. Let's see. MudBlazor, I guess this should be the one. Yeah, let's install that. Okay. And by the way, since who was asking about this? Sebastian. So how do we kind of like do the grid in the application? And I say that we were using two JavaScript libraries, but I was thinking about kind of like maybe, well, trying to start work within the Code Wrinkles members community to create a library for that on our own. Like basically two libraries, maybe one for the chess rules engine and the other one for the board representation. So yeah, we'll see exactly how that will work out. Cool, but okay. So that package is installed right now. We have 20 concurrent viewers. I guess that's a record. So thank you very much for joining. Cool. The next step that we need to do is okay, add the following into your imports.razor. Keep up, you're the best. I'm not sure if I'm the best. There are also a lot of other very good content creators out there, but none of them is doing actually live coding. So at least that's something that's specific to me. So in the imports.razor, that's where we need to kind of like import that. And by the way, question, what other .NET YouTubers are you watching? I'd be curious to hear that and why, and what do you think I do better than them, and what do you think I do maybe worse than them? That would be highly appreciated. Okay, so imports.razor. Where is that imports.razor? Here. Okay. Using MudBlazor. So then we need to add font and style reference. Okay, in either index HTML or layout CSS, depending on whether you're using WebAssembly or server. Now I am using Blazor Server, but Blazor Server still has a layout of CSS/HTML and it has a host CSS/HTML. So I guess it's kind of like doesn't really matter probably. Let's do it in the host HTML, CSS/HTML. Where is it? However, that one. Where is it? By the way, is the voice clear enough? And do you hear me well? Is it okay? I've moved my mic a little bit forward. Okay, so host CSS/HTML here. And once again, it should be in the head, I guess. Here we already have the styles for the chessboard, because that also needs some styles. So we have here href, content, MudBlazor, MudBlazor CSS. Right now it is not able to actually find it because this contents folder is generated basically on build when you use libraries. So yeah, but it should actually probably work. Let's check the next step. Add a script reference in this same location as the default Blazor script. Okay. Not sure if that is in the hosts, but we'll check. Yeah, here we have this Blazor chess. jQuery, yeah, that here is basically where we should probably. Though I'm not sure if it matters if we add it at the top or on the bottom, but I don't think it relies on anything that we have previously. Daniele del Piano, hello, ce faci? Bine. Thank you. Coding right now. Cool. So yeah, now we have done even that. Let's see what's still here in the same file as above. The default Blazor template loads Bootstrap. This is no longer needed and can be removed. Delete that Bootstrap and open Ionic folder as well. Okay. All the site CSS files. I'm from Italy, but I live in England. How does an Italian feels about living in England? I mean, those countries are so different in terms of culture. By the way, for those of you who might ask yourself why some people that are commenting here have that Code Wrinkles badge around their names, is because they are Code Wrinkles members, so they have joined the membership on this channel. And some of them even, I guess, they have 2 months and have a different colored badge. So if any of the members are watching that have a different colored badge, just comment here so that everybody can see that. So you're already living for 10 years in England. Cool. I have lived for 6 years in Italy. if that counts for something. In Rome, actually. Okay, so we also need the site CSS. This probably we need to remove this from the default Blazor, and we don't want it to be there. But then we also have, okay, they don't have a documentation here for .NET 7. Because .NET 7 is kind of like the same. Okay, services, add MudBlazor. So let's do that. Program.cs. Okay, here we have a lot of stuff right now. We haven't cleaned up this folder for now. You know, if you have followed the other project that we were building during live coding, like the CWK social, you know that I have a preferred technique on actually keeping this file clean, but probably I will not concentrate on that right now, probably at a certain point. Do you speak fluently Italian? I used to speak fluently Italian. In the end, I wrote two, well, end of university papers in Italian, so. But I haven't actually practiced Italian for another 10 years, so probably I'm not that fluent anymore. Ma un po' penso che lo parlo, l'italiano. Okay. So we have added also the services. And then we need to add some components here. Add the following components to your main layout. .razor. Note that the theme provider is essential in MudBlazor. Okay, my theme provider, but I guess we'll add all of them. So that should be in the main layout. I guess that main layout will also be the part that will kind of like we'll use to create a different type of smaller components for the layout itself. So let's add that. Main layout. Where are you, main layout? Here. And I guess so here we have this page title. Chest Wrinkles app. That's probably something that we don't want anymore to have. And probably that's something that I would like. Okay, so here that's actually the page with the sidebar with everything, and that's kind of like what we need to remove. Main layout.razor.css. I guess we want to remove this because this comes from the template. And we don't want to actually overlap with something from MudBlazor. Let me check if we have anything else here in the CSS folder. The site CSS, that's also something that I guess we need to remove. Blazor error UI. Okay, I guess those are for the error. I guess those I want to keep. Validation message. I'm not sure exactly what's this here for. Content, BTN focus. I guess the content and make sure that kind of like it doesn't overlap. I guess those one I don't want to have anymore. BTN primary also I don't want because we'll use buttons from MudBlazor and probably they will kind of like have problems. H1 focus also. Font family Helvetica Arial sans serif. Maybe we'll keep this, I guess. But why are these red things here? Ah, the outline color. Okay. Nice. I have never written CSS in Rider, so I'm not really accustomed to that. Daniele Del Piano, you said you are from Florence originally? I guess during the last stream. Am I right? Okay, so I guess the rest of the site CSS I will keep. It's not really problematic. Okay. So the next thing is we'll have to take a little bit. Okay, what do we have here in this layout? Let me maybe just leave a blank line here. So we have this div, which is the class page, then the sidebar, and then we have the main. And in the main, we have, that's probably what we have in the top. Like the login display, that's something that we probably will want to remove. And then we have this body here, and I think actually we want to replace everything here probably with some things from MudBlazor, I guess. Let me check. So why am I using Rider? There are a couple of reasons for why I'm using Rider. First of all, it's much faster than Visual Studio. much faster. There's no way to actually even compare that. And then there are other reasons, like in Rider you have some features built in that you get with the default subscription that I pay for, that you get only, for instance, in Visual Studio Enterprise, like project dependency, architectural graph, and there are some things that you get in Rider that you don't get in Visual Studio at all, like the intermediate language viewer and code lowering options, to see things about how your code gets lowered, so you don't see that. And yeah, now let's just delete everything here for now. And MudBlazor has something, a component that's kind of like called the mud layout, and then there's actually a mud up bar. From what I can recall, actually. And the app bar, actually, probably that needs a little bit of customization. Okay, so there is actually a lot like Amihai, okay, Wes Doyle, Nick Chapsas, Lars Bilde. This guy has great content, but unfortunately he stopped posting. Okay, Rainer Stropek, Les Jackson, and of course, I guess the length of the comment was exceeded, but yeah. I have to admit, for instance, Lars Bilde, I didn't know about him, and also Rainer Stropek. So yeah, that's kind of like, I will take a look also at them. All the others, I know about them, I watch their content, let's say keep track on them. Some of them I even met personally. But yeah, kind of like that's nice. I mean, yeah, Nick Chapsas, everybody knows him. Hello, Daniele. You see, Daniele is actually a member for more than 1 month, and you see that his badge has a different color. So thank you, Daniele, for being a loyal member. So I think we need to go to the MudBlazor documentation to actually take a look into what we have here. Let's say layouts, MudBlazor. That's exactly what I have done, like the mud layout, up bar and drawer. Okay, so the mud up bar is for the application, and the mud drawer, that's, yeah, some very basic things here. Functionality, let's see. That's one that also contains a button. I guess that's something that will kind of like can implement something like that. I'm not sure if I want to have a drawer though. The navigation menu. That's something that people like to have for sure. So it's mod nav menu and mod nav link, where you have the href as a parameter for the component. The match, I assume that's something if the link should match the full qualified URL or not, or something like that probably. Here only the prefix should probably match. Okay, you can even create a mod group. It can be expanded or not. That's good to know. Then content and containers. Okay, so it would be a mod main content and the main container. Okay, cool. So we have the container. Let's see, something similar to that. Okay, let's try to kind of like build this out. Where am I? Here. So we have this mod app bar, and then we say that we have seen mod main content. Okay, so that would be here. We will have also a mod container. In the documentation, there was a mod container, and in the mod container, we actually had the body. Something like that. So here is where all the other components of the body will be rendered. And yeah, that's kind of like something good to have. I think we need to maybe let's just add something here. Okay, so for the mod app bar, taking into consideration what we have seen there, let's put an elevation of 1. Let's see that it's fixed equals true, and then dense I also want it to be true. Okay, so that's kind of like what we have on the app bar, and what I want to have on the app bar, there is also, I have seen in the documentation, the mod icon. Okay, let's see, mod icon, cool. And then I see that it's icon, something like that. And let's see, what icons do we have here? Dot. So material, I guess that would be icons from the material stuff, field, outlined. Yeah. I want to find a chess piece here. If there would be a chess piece as an icon, where would it be? Maybe in custom? Brands, uncategorized, file formats, uncategorized. Sausage. Come on. There's an icon for sausage. That's well, chess bishop, chess king, chess knight. Oh my god, we have chess pieces. MudBlazor has chess pieces as icons. That's cool. A queen. Let's use a queen. Let's use a queen. Cool. So we have an icon, and then I would also like to have a text that kind of like it's is our application name. And for that, I have seen in the documentation that there is this mod text, I guess. Yes, mod text. And I want to be I want the typography here. Typo equals typo, and one of the heading, I don't know, let's take heading 3. And let's call this test wrinkles. That should be kind of like what we have here right now. Cool. Let's maybe run the application and take a look at how this works. Okay, I see that there are some comments. Don't forget to give a way to close your app, or you might have to reboot. Okay. Is this app for your phone? No, it's not for the phone. It's an application that runs in the browser. It's with Blazor Server. Really excited to see your new playlist out. TDD. We don't have too much YouTube content about it and TDD, and complex projects implement in architecture. Yeah, I will definitely continue with the DDD stuff. I also think that's important, even if it's not performing that well in terms of use. But I will definitely continue that. For your information, mod form doesn't work with iValidatable object, and any of the mod fork controls won't work with the edit context on file change event. kind of a bummer. Daniel, thank you very much for this information. To be honest, I knew that there is something wrong with the forms in MudBlazor, but I really didn't know exactly. I remember I have read some discussions or read some blogs on that quite a few months back. However, our application will not actually use those forms. Yeah, there was also a short interruption right now, so sorry for that. Okay, so it started, I guess, but I'm not sure. Was the browser opened? Yes. Cool. So a little bit of things have changed here. So we have these chess wrinkles, that's okay. And we have the queen, which is also okay. We have this hello world, which I guess comes from the index. So I guess we need to kind of like go to the index and remove that. But I would also like to have the dark theme on that. So let's just stop this. And I remember there is somewhere in MudBlazor where you can very easily activate the dark theme. Was it on the layout? Let's just search for that actually. Actually, it doesn't find anything. So there was something with the dark theme. My theme provider. Mud layout. Nothing about the dark theme here though. But there should be something somewhere. I guess, if I recall correctly, on one of those three. So let's try to think. So if it should be on one of those three, like the Mud Team provider, the Mud Dialog provider, and the Snack Bar provider. Snack Bar kind of like it's something that provides some, well, some bars that appear with information when you need them. But I guess if there should be something, I guess in this team provider. Let's see. Is dark mode. Yep. I want this to be true. Yep. Like that. And let's also go into the index. Oh, but where is that index? Is it in the index.razor? Yes, it's here. So, okay, I don't want to see the page title here. Actually, to be fair, I don't want to see anything here. For now, just the chessboard. That's the only thing that I want on the index. Cool. So, okay. Thank you for the subscription. I see we just have a new subscriber. Thank you very much. Cool. So we have this this one. Yeah, let's maybe run again and check the results now. Not sure why, but there's a huge delay in the streaming. Basically, when I say or do something, it takes, I guess, maybe 2 minutes even until you see it. At least based on what I can observe here. this is one of the huge well, things and challenges in live streaming is that you kind of like it's never real time, and this kind of like is well, it's the same for if you are watching, I don't know, live football matches on TV. It's the same. You don't see it like in real time. It always comes with 30 seconds of delay or something like that. And yeah, this is how our Blazor page looks right now. This is how our Blazor page looks like now. So it's much better. So I think this title is a little bit too big. Maybe we'll want to make it smaller. It's something like here. And then we'll need to have here like some menu things, and we'll have to need some spacing. Probably we'll need to create a component for that. Then we should have this information about user. So what we'll still need to do in this bar is to kind of like, okay, make this smaller. We'll want to create actually dedicated components for each of those parts. So we want to have a components for the menu. We want probably to have a component for the spacer, or maybe MudBlazor has a spacer or something like that. That would be totally useful. And then we would need another component basically for the user login. So I guess that's what we still need to implement. But well, it already starts to look a little bit better than it was previously. So yeah, I'm kind of like cool with that. Let's stop the server here. And so first things first, what I want to do is, if we go back to the main layout, I want to make the title smaller. Where is the main layout? I forgot. Yeah, I find it here. So in this main layout, we have typo. It's not H3. Let's make it, I don't know, H5. So that should be right now considerably smaller. And then what we can do here is kind of like well, implement all these components. Okay, so we have the up bar here. So we'll need the up bar menu. So we need to create a component for that one. The only question is, where should we actually create that? Sorry. So in which folder should we create this type of, because these components are kind of like in a certain way reusable. They kind of like belong to the main layout. And if they belong to the main layout, let's have them where the main layout is. And the main layout is here in shared. So what we need is first a component that will kind of like have our application bar. So let's add here a new Blazor component, and let's call it up bar menu. Okay, not sure if we will need any code here right now. However, when we need more code, I will also, or I tend to kind of like use code behind files. I guess that's way better when designing components in Blazor. But what we'll need, everything I guess in MudBlazor should be placed in a mud container. Sorry, everything in MudBlazor should be placed in a mud container, because otherwise, I guess for the container, I would like to add maybe some flexbox classes. So deflex, align, content. I guess this should be at the start, and then the user login will be align content end or something like that. And then we have seen also in the documentation for MudBlazor that we have mud menu It should be something like this. And in the mod menu, we can define, for instance, the label. So first we'll want to have a play button, of course. And we have kind of like those properties dense equals true, so that everything should have a more denser thing. And then the enter origins. That's kind of like a nice thing in Blazor or in MudBlazor is kind of like, it's the question, if you kind of like, I don't know, click on a menu item, where exactly do you want that menu, in which direction do you want that menu to open? And then basically you need to provide an enter origin to that. And you can specify that you want to open it from bottom left, or you want to open it from center, or bottom center, or bottom right, or upper left. And kind of like, I guess we need to specify this enter origin. Okay, and see, those are the possible values. So bottom center, bottom left, bottom right, center, center. I don't know, let's start with bottom left. And then, so the enter point is actually where this starts, as far as I recall. And then there is a transform origin, which is kind of like towards where you want it to go. And here we have, so it's from bottom left. I guess it should go to top left, so something like that it should open. I don't know. Maybe I don't remember these things well enough, so probably, but we'll, check out how exactly this looks like. And then in the mod menu, we have this mod menu item. And in the mod menu item is would be something like that. Now let's add this up bar menu to the main layout, so it should be displayed. I guess there is still in the up bar. I guess up bar menu, something like that. And let's take a look. Let's take a look. So let's see, is there any new comment? Is the MudBlazor site installation page? There are some templates for common layouts. Yeah, I guess we have even seen them together, but yeah. Okay, so once again it opened on the other monitor, but I will bring it back. Cool. Actually, it looks okay. Okay. So the enter point is bottom left, but then the transform, I guess it's okay like this. It's not that bad. Cool. Well, it starts to look nice, I guess. For how bad I am at front-end stuff, I guess this MudBlazor really helps me out a lot. Cool, yeah. Let's then see exactly what else do we want. So we want to have a button for like in the menu for create. Let's take a look at what we actually have here. So under play, create game. Okay, we have arena tournaments, Swiss tournaments. Well, that's not something that we'll actually have. So yeah, create a game. That's basically everything that we have here. I guess we'll just leave the menu right now only with one entry. When we'll add maybe new functionalities, then we'll add different other entries here. But yeah, kind of like, I guess that should be okay for now. And then The next thing that we need to do is we kind of like need the spacer. And I think that MudBlazor has a spacer or something like that. I guess we need to go to the docs. I guess I'm in the wrong place. Yep. Mud slider, mud switch, mud simple table, mud swipe area. I don't see the spacer, but I remember that there should be a spacer. You know, let me just try it out. I have the menu and then I want a spacer here. Mud spacer. There is a mud spacer. Cool. Because I want to, and then I want to kind of like add the user menu, like something that we have on the website here is this part on the right. So I want to have this user menu. Of course, when I click on it, I want to see different things. We'll see what will come to implement. But yeah, that's the whole idea. So we have this, well, the title of the application. We also have that logo with the chess queen. Then we have the menu items, and then we have this user login. So that's kind of like what we want to achieve right now. I don't know, let's call this maybe user info menu. Okay, let's add this new component to the Blazor component, and let's name this user info menu, because it's a part of the menu that contains, I don't know, user information. So yeah, something like that. I don't want this. So as we do with everything, I guess we will need a mud container. Okay, so we have the container. That should be okay. Let's see, is there any other question here? No, I don't see any other question. Cool. Then our user info menu is still a menu. So mud menu. And here for this mud menu, here I need to display kind of like the username of that specific user. And to display that username, we will actually need to get that username from the authentication state or something similar like that. So this means that we need to start like implementing the authentication part, and that I remember it 1 year ago. It was a period where I have worked a lot with Blazor Server, and I did a lot of videos on Blazor Server authentication. Fortunately, of course, even if I did these videos, I don't really recall exactly everything, but there are different type of things here. So the main challenge with authentication in Blazor Server, well, maybe short primer on Blazor Server authentication might be useful. So the main challenge with Blazor Server authentication is that when you compare it to regular MVC stuff like APIs or even Razor pages or MVC with views, all those scenarios, when we think about authentication, the authentication is based on the HTTP context, because those scenarios are kind of like HTTP request based. So you get a controller or to an action when there is a new HTTP request. You can't get to the controller action otherwise, or to the Razor page. And that's why authentication basically in ASP.NET Core is based a lot on the HTTP context itself. However, the problem with Blazor is that since everything or all the changes in the UI are basically calculated on the server and transmitted to the client or to the browser through a WebSockets connection, the thing is that you only get an HTTP connection once when you make the first request to the application, or when the browser makes the very first request to the application. But afterwards, no matter what you do, you don't get a new request. So the HTTP context, basically what it happens is that it remains, let's say, very outdated. And you cannot really base your authentication 100% on the HTTP context. So what we need to do is kind of like, okay, when we have that very first request that comes to the application, we need to, well, get the information that we have access to in the HTTP context at that specific point, because at that specific point, information in the HTTP context, well, is, I would say, new, because the HTTP context basically was just created. And then take that information that we have in the HTTP context and kind of like use that information as a starting point for the authentication state on our Blazor server application, so that we can always update the authentication state on the Blazor server when we think that something happens that needs to update the authentication state. So that's kind of like what we need to implement there. And therefore, the first thing that we actually need to do is actually starting or individuating the point where actually the very first HTTP request comes in. So the point where we can actually rely on the HTTP context and well, have confidence that it contains information that it is usable. And that thing happens in that host CSHTML file. You see that that's a CSHTML, so it's not a Blazor component, it's a regular CSHTML file. So by the time we actually go into here, we know for sure that we actually have information that is correct in the HTTP context. Now, what happens afterwards? Now, in this host CSHTML, unfortunately, we have here a lot of things. Let's see, can we get rid of some of the things? So we have this component type of app. This is basically what actually bootstraps our Blazor application. Everything else is actually Blazor UI. So for the errors, and then the scripts and all the things that we have here. Okay, cool. So I guess I'm cool with that. We can keep this part. There's really no reason to actually, well, have any type of problem with it. However, what we can do here, and we can actually go here, and after we have all these imports, so this is basically a razor view. So in a razor view, what you can do is, for instance, have this type of well, code block. Why does Rider not really format it as expected? So first of all, what I want to do is specify the layout that I want to use. I guess it's this layout for the authentication. And then what we can do is, let's take a string username. Okay, so why doesn't this work properly? Why doesn't this work properly? Because that's the page. That was actually supposed to work. Wasn't it supposed to work here? Yep, unexpected tokens. Because they don't really expect that. Okay, let me... Aha! Like this, okay. So layout, what's the problem with layout? Cannot resolve symbol layout, okay. Let's get rid of that then. So string username, what we can do here is, we can use the HTTP context like this, and then user dot identity, and then what's the problem with this one? User in static content. Okay. So, did something change in the Blazor versions recently or in the last versions? Because this was supposed to work at least in, I guess .NET 5 where was the last thing that I was using this. But okay. But here we should have access to HTTP context as a property. That's a little bit strange. So this is our host file. Is it correct? So I guess, I'm not sure, but I guess in earlier Blazor, maybe you can correct me if I'm wrong, but maybe somebody, what you explained about HTTP context that is only available in Razor views is also why there is no session in Blazor components. Is there alternative for how to store user info in Blazor? Like theoretically, if you are using, well, Blazor Server, you don't really need to actually, well, store it, because when you authenticate the user, it kind of like does this through a cookie. It's how it works also in our application right now. And if you are working with Blazor WebAssembly, there are some very cool libraries by Chris Sainty, which allows you to kind of like work with the local storage and the session storage of the browser. So you can use them if you want to have some information about user. The problem is that they still give me the class here, but it's... No, there should be a property here basically on this Razor page itself. So no, I'm definitely remember that actually we had two different things earlier. So we had a layout for this main page and the host. Actually, we just had the host. And I'm not sure exactly what changed, but I guess, yeah, we'll look into how we can actually implement this. Yeah, but theoretically, well, I will look into that. Thank you very much for the subscription. I will look into injecting it, but theoretically you should inject an interface. Now, that's kind of like this. Theoretically, here is the point where I'm not sure if kind of like injection would work, but yeah, let's find the updated documentation for that, because but you'd not register this interface in services. No, because HTTP context is theoretically default, or you have access to HTTP context in controllers. It's already there. You have access on HTTP context in Razor pages. It's already there, or it used to be, at least in the .NET 6 version. Blazor Server. This means that also my Blazor Server authentication videos are a little bit outdated. So yeah, I'll have to kind of like look into that. Let's maybe bring this to the other screen and yeah, check exactly how that is supposed to work right now. Razor pages authorization don't apply to routable Razor components. Okay. Authentication, but I don't care about Blazor WebAssembly, Blazor Server. Real-time connection. Okay, I know this. The authentication state provider. I also know this. Blazor Server apps obtain authentication state from ASP.NET Core's HTTP context user. Yeah, that's what I want to obtain. This is how authentication state integrates with existing ASP.NET Core authentication. Cool. And why can't I access the HTTP context in the hosts? Okay, I know the stuff about the authentication state provider. I know the stuff about cascading authentication state. Okay. And then here, let me check what we have here. So we are here on client data as shown in the following example. So that's a page. And get claims. That's a regular implementation of okay, and to get your authentication state. And by the way, this type of documentation is actually wrong, because get authentication state async has some problems, and it could potentially lead to, well, security problems with your application. So there is a different way in which we should check the authenticated state of a certain user. So if user identity is authenticated, out message, okay, and then if it is a cascading parameter. Okay, let's maybe look into this. This is authentication state task. With the authentication state task, this is how we should actually check the authentication state of the user. And this is like that. And then the cascading authentication state. This is in the app.razor, but that should already be by default there. We will have to also look into there. And then authorization with authorize you, that's also a different thing. But yeah, those things I already know. I heard that in .NET 6 they remove HTTP context and now you need to use accessor, but it's not correct. What is not correct? Didn't they remove it? Because I can't access it. That's basically a Razor page. Theoretically, I should be able to, well, access the No, it's also not. What's actually wrong here? HTTP context. No, so yeah, it's let's maybe check again. There should be .NET 7 access the context on Blazor pages. On the context in Blazor Server. That's older. That's also older. Okay, using the HTTP context in Blazor Server the right way. So yeah, that's kind of like the video that I made about that. And yeah, it seems that I have to investigate this and kind of like probably remove the video because it seems to be HTTP context in ASP.NET Core. Yeah, let's me try that one. Still ASP.NET Core 7 from Razor pages. Okay, so super old. Yeah, sorry, haha. Well, it's not that old. I mean, I made it around 1 year ago, and kind of like it was actually at that point. So in Razor pages, we have this page model. Okay, from Razor view, context. Aha, aha. It doesn't seem to be here. For username equals context. Nope. Nope, I don't have access. Var out state await authentication state provider get authentication state async. Yes, but this is not something that we'll do here. This is what we'll do in the components, Lahib. Here we are not in a component. Here we are actually theoretically in a Razor page because it has this CS HTML extension, and that's the point where we'll actually need to get information that we have in the HTTP context and use it afterwards. So yeah. Let me go back to this documentation. From a controller, from a minimal API. Cool. Everywhere we have the HTTP context. Even from SignalR, from gRPC, from custom components. Yeah, here I can use dependency injection. Okay, and I can use the HTTP context accessor, but from a background thread, Blazor and share state. Okay, Blazor Server. Cool. Well, let's see, because that's kind of like what we need. Multiple apps hosted within the same process. For each app session, Blazor starts a circuit. Yeah, it's actually what I already said about this. You can use stateful singleton service in Blazor apps. For it, for example, it's okay to use a memory cache. Okay. Additionally, again, for security reasons, you must not use you see HTTP client accessor within Blazor apps. So that's something that we shouldn't do. Let's see, long time I didn't touch anything. But should home being inside the shared folder? It's there by default. It's how it was created by the template. I can't recall the convention for, and now the scaffolding exactly is, but maybe a context problem because of that. I don't exclude that, but since it's the standard template that we get from the solution that's provided by Microsoft, I would assume that should be okay. As I recall, also previously we had two different files. We had the layout and we had the host. In the layout, we had all the stuff around, like the error UI, and in the host, we just had kind of like the bootstrapping of Blazor. But yeah. Not is guaranteed. Okay. The recommended way to pass request state to Blazor app is through parameters to the root component. Yeah, exactly. That's what I wanted when in the initial rendering state of the app. Cool. That's what I wanted to do. So define a class with all the data you want to pass to the Blazor app. Okay, that's something we can do even later. Populate the data from the Razor page using HTTP context available at the time. It's not available. I don't know, what am I doing wrong here? Test the data to Blazor app as a parameter. Yeah, exactly, this is what I wanted to do. That's what I want to do. And then define a parameter in the root component to hold the data being passed. Yep. User specific data, and then on initialized async, and then check continuously the state. Maybe you modified something. No, I don't recall that. So basically, they say they say me to do exactly what I wanted to do. So once again, populate data from the Razor page using HTTP context available at that time. So it's a Razor page. So if we go back to Razor pages. So in Razor pages, it's the HTTP context. Thank you very much for subscribing, by the way. Our username equals HTTP context. Yeah, that's what I wanted to do initially. But now it works. I don't know. So that's exactly the very first thing that we tried to do, and kind of like Rider showed us a lot of errors here. I must be totally confused, because that's exactly the very first thing that we tried to do here. That was literally the first thing that we tried to do here. So we want to have this user dot identity dot to the term name. Yeah, that could be null. Okay, let me. Never trust the IntelliSense. I always full put and yeah, that's totally correct. That's totally correct. It seems cool. Yeah. So right now the idea is that we have, or what we can do here is we want to get this username that we have, and then we can actually pass into the root component, which is the app.razor.cs, and we'll see that in the app.razor. Or in the app.razor, we can then basically use this or use that information as well, what we need for the authentication state of the user, and check whether the state or whenever the authentication state or something in the authentication state needs to be changed, we do that through the authentication state provider. So that's kind of like what the main concept here is, and the way that we can actually do this is where do we bootstrap the component here? So there is one way, and we can say param dot username. That's a parameter that we will have to create basically on that on that app root component, like the app.razor, and that should be equal to the username that we have defined earlier. And that's how we pass the information from the HTTP context, like, okay, that is the username that we want to get. And then based on that username, kind of like we can get information. This is username. Let's make sure that I don't have a typo. And yeah, that should be okay, like this. And now, basically, if we go to, we need to go to this app. Where is it? App.razor. Yep, that's actually where this is the root component of our Blazor application. So when we are in this host CSHTML and we say here component type and type of app, basically it's that app. You see, it's this one. So that's basically the root Blazor component, and when this is loaded, starting from this point, actually, the HTTP context is already outdated, so we cannot rely on the HTTP context anymore because they are not in sync. So what we need to do here is, in this app.razor, we need kind of like a way to get that information that we had passed from that one. And in this case, we can say here with code, and then we need a public string, and the parameter was username. Get set, and we need to decorate this with a parameter. And so the good thing is that my videos are not outdated. So that's a good thing. That's a good thing. So basically, you see that this username should be exactly. Let me also paste it here to don't have typo, because this is basically how you pass parameters to any Blazor component, is basically through this type of params that you specify here. So this name should actually, as said, be part of this username. And when we have this username, let's take a look at what we have. We already have the cascading authentication state, which is okay. We have this router assembly where we have the routes. We are not using routes from external assembly, so that's kind of like okay for now. And then unauthorized route view, route data, okay. Type of main layout, that's okay. Focus on navigate, route data, selected, selector, I guess that's okay. And then the not found, So I guess that it's kind of like okay, but I guess we can then pass this just further down the line through cascading parameters like this username. So what we can do in that case in our, I guess, user menu that we have. Because that's what we actually want to work on right now. I'm thinking right now. Because we get this information, but I'm not sure if we actually need that information at all right now. Let's keep it here for now. Let me check if there are any comments. Can you suggest me a site to get sharp with .NET 7? I'm a bit rusty on getting up to date. Besides this channel. I mean, you can follow, or well, you can check the videos of other .NET creators that you see out there. That kind of like would also help. But to be honest, the best way to actually stay up to date with .NET and learn stuff, from my point of view, or the way that I keep pace, or how I keep track, is by following the right people on Twitter, not reading blogs or things like that. My point of view, there are only 3 people that you have to follow, and you will always be up to date with everything. David Fowler is one of them. Imo Landvert is another one of them. And Scott Hanselman is another one. If you follow those 3, you will always be up to date with everything that happens in .NET. Cool. So yeah, let's keep that here for now. I say I don't really, basically kind of like a little bit forgot the idea or what exactly I wanted to do, because the end result is that what we want to achieve is when we are in this user login component. Where is that component? User info menu. Basically what we want to have here is well, information about username, but the authentication state actually is also generated by default by Blazor from the HTTP context. So we can rely actually on the authentication state. So only if we need some custom things for some custom services, then we need to kind of like get them from the HTTP context and make sure that we persist them. So for now we will keep that, but I guess, and also in this user menu, so that you get an idea. Once again, let me bring this on screen. So we want it actually to show different things. Like if the user is authenticated, we want to show the username. We won't care about these icons for now. So if the user is authenticated, we want to display the username, but if the user is not authenticated, I want to kind of like display the login and the register button. And that's why I think that what we need to do, like this user info menu, that's the part actually that we will have when user is authenticated. But I guess we need another component for that. So how did we call this? User info menu. Let's add a new Razor component. It's kind of like a top level component for this one, where we'll do basically the check if the user is authenticated or not. And let's call this user menu. So that's the part that will kind of like, if everything's okay, it will display basically. So to set this up, first of all, authorize view, that's kind of like what we need to wrap everything in. And here we have two components. It's authorized and it's not authorized. Okay. Oh, something like that. Okay, cool. So if it's authorized, I want to display the user info menu. So that's why in the user info menu, basically, I don't really have to check anything else. But actually, I can do it also as a self-closing tag, I guess, like that. Yeah, it still works. And here, if if this is not authorized, I want to display some buttons. Let's get a mud container here. And for the mud container, I guess I also want to add some CSS Flexbox classes on that. The flex justify content end, because I want it to be on the right, like that. And then what I can still do is mud button. Okay, so I have a variant, and I want to also to just display a text. Now buttons in MudBlazor. Okay, I have a typo here. So buttons in they have a variant, and in the variant it could be a field which would be kind of like a regular field button with color outlined, kind of like with borders, I guess, and this variant text, it just displays text, and that's what that's what I want to have here. And then when we click on that button, we want to actually do a redirection so we actually would have two buttons, one for login and one for register. So in that case, if we have the first button is login, we want to have an on-click event. On click. Of course, I also have to type correctly. Okay, so on click, and I will have here a method. Let's call it with a lambda function. On login click. Thank you for subscribing. Just have a new subscriber. Okay, on login click. I guess there's still a typo here. Of course, I don't have this this method yet, but I will create it afterwards. And the text for this button should be login. Cool. Then I want to kind of like divide, and we have this mud divider also. And the divider kind of like well, it just in this case I want to add some space between those two buttons. I assume they will be let's have the not space but also a line, like okay, I divide this and then I want this line to actually be vertical, I guess. So vertical equals true. If I recall correctly, it should be that way. Cool. Hello, Bogdan. Thank you very much for joining. Daniel Spindler. Daniel, please, could you post those three people's names or Twitter handlers in this chat? Yep. David Fowler. Let me check. But the problem is, if I paste you, or if I tell you those Twitter handlers, then you will go and follow them, and you won't watch the content anymore on this channel. But no, I'll do this. David Fowler. Where is it? Here. So that's David Fowler. Then let's go for Emo Landwehr. Basically, David Fowler is, I would probably say the main guy, everything regarding .NET 7 and the ASP.NET Core part of that. He's basically the creator of SignalR and the creator of a lot of very cool stuff. Imo Landwehr, on the other hand, he's basically the guy behind the .NET, like the core lib, and what APIs are created and optimized and things like that. And he also posts a lot of useful stuff. And the third one, of course, I guess everybody knows him, is Scott Hanselman. And Scott Hanselman, he is really cool, a cool guy. But recently he kind of like is not tweeting well that much on .NET and ASP.NET Core, but general geeky stuff around the Microsoft ecosystem, like Azure, like basically everything. But he's definitely somebody to follow if you're a .NET developer. And yeah, this is Scott Hanselman. Cool. And yeah. Was lucky enough when I worked at Microsoft, I was attending a conference, internal conference in Seattle. Kind of like had an occasion to say hi to Scott Hanselman at that point, but it was only that, like just saying hi. I can't really say that I know him. The other guys, unfortunately, I don't know personally, but hopefully one day I'll get to drink a beer with them, with David Fowler and Imo Landwehr. Yeah. So basically, if you follow those guys, from my point of view, like I learn 90% of what I know. Like the first time I hear things from them, and then kind of then I go and read a little bit about that. But the amount of information that they provide is really crazy. Like it's really crazy. Cool. Now, okay, what do we want to do? So yes, we have this divider. And then we need another button. I guess we can just copy paste this. Of course, don't do this in real life, no. Copy pasting code. And here we'll have a method that will be probably called something like on sign up or register. Let's call this on register. Something like that, I guess. Now, the only thing is that we need to do here is we kind of like need to implement those methods. Private to be void on login click, and here on register click. So on login click to the tomb, what we want to do then, we want to kind of like navigate to where our account login is, and then private void on register click. Cool. And to do redirections, we need something in Blazor that's called the navigation manager, and that's something that we can just inject. So inject navigation manager. Let's give it the name of navigation. Technically, it's a field, but in this case, I really when I inject it like this in Blazor components, I don't really like to use with underscore. You'll see that kind of like dependency injection in Blazor. Usually, we want to inject in properties, not in fields. But we'll get to this probably a little bit later. So what do we still have here? Navigation manager. So then we can just simply use this navigation dot navigate, and we need to specify where to navigate, and we want to navigate to identity and account and login. And one thing that we need to specify here is this true. Now, this true that we specify here, if we take a look at what it says, force load. That kind of like forces a reload of the page, and we need that reload because we are redirecting to a Razor view in this case. We are not redirecting to another Blazor component, so in that case we could have placed this on false, but we are redirecting to a Razor view that is used for the login. And in that case, that's why we need to kind of like force to to navigate again, to get a fresh HTTP context on that. And similarly to this, it's actually what we will do here. Once again, don't do this in real life, and don't tell anybody that you have seen this on my channel. So it would be account, and I guess it should be register. Where's my cursor? Here. Account.register. Cool. So we have this registration. And by the way, if anybody's watching and is not subscribed to this channel, please subscribe, of course. Also hit the notification bell if you're here, because yeah, to be notified whenever a new video comes. And by the way, tomorrow morning a new video will be up on my channel. Kind of like I want to probably say a little bit about that video. So the video that comes tomorrow will be a little bit different than most of the videos that I have, or well, all the videos that I have on this channel, because, and I really want to explain that. And by the way, thank you very much for joining, and yeah, please subscribe to this channel if you enjoy this content. So the idea is that I really have spent the entire month of December thinking about okay, what I want to do with this channel going forward, and most of all also thinking, okay, how is this channel, or how do I want this channel to be different from other .NET content creators? Because as somebody mentioned earlier during the stream, there are a lot of .NET content creators that are very good. So what can I actually do better than them? Or not better, but how would I like to be different than them? Just 1 second, I want to pour me something to drink. Just got the bottle. So, and I was thinking also, well, with people and colleagues at work, and well, trying to kind of like understand exactly why people do write me, for instance, in work, what people do ask me on work and off work, also maybe in comments that we have in our videos. And by the way, on our Discord servers, members have access to the CodeWrinkles Discord server, where we really discuss a lot of stuff. It's kind of like, well, I would say accelerated way of learning is being in a community and discussing stuff that we encounter in your application. So we do a lot of such discussions on the Discord server, and also try to think about, okay, what are people on the Discord server asking, and why did they join kind of like this community as members. And the main point was that I came to the conclusion that a lot of people actually also at work and off work perceive me as a good mentor. So my idea is that what I want to do with this channel forward is not just provide content on .NET, but also focus a little bit on what it means to be a mentor, like not just a content creator, but a mentor. And one of the things that that I think this means is that I would like to want to create some videos actually answering on questions that are not 100% technical, that I receive from members or from other subscribers in the comments, or from people at work. So the video tomorrow will not be 100% technical one. It has something to do with well, with .NET, of course, and programming in general. But the topic for the video tomorrow is ChatGPT, and if it will replace software developers, but not if it will replace, but what can we do as developers to actually stay ahead of that. The main thing here, and that's really just a small teaser about that video, is that, okay, 100% replacement of the developers, no, ChatGPT or AI won't 100% replace developers, but there will be major changes. And in that video, I have actually kind of like tried to understand what are some tasks that we software developers do that would be able, or that would be easily automated by AI or ChatGPT. And based on that, I try to kind of like explain what I think that will change drastically in the way we work as software developers. And therefore, I then will provide some information, like 4 ways, like only 4 ways, or 4 things that we need to do, including me. And I already have started to kind of like implement those 4 ways. So what we need to do to kind of like stay ahead on that. And when those changes come in the way that we work, that we kind of like still are available on the market. And yeah, that's something that will be discussed in the video tomorrow. And one video per month will be actually a mentoring video, like a question like that. That's one of the changes that will come to this channel. And of course, we will do more and more activities with the channel members. Like we'll work on projects within the channel members. And yeah, if you're curious enough, then just join as a member and you will be part of, well, some really cool stuff where I can assure you will learn a lot. Cool. I see here. Hi Dan, join a bit late. This is Morali from Surrey, UK. Hello Morali, thank you very much for joining. It's no problem, it's never too late. So, I guess we can... So, we want... If it's authorized, we want user info. If it's not, we want the button. So, the only thing that we need to do is come back here to this user info and actually try to understand what we actually want to provide here. So it would be a mud container and it would be a mud menu. And here is where we actually need the username from. Let's put in some code here. So first of all, we'll also probably need to navigate if somebody wants to sign out, for instance. But we want, when this component is initialized, we want actually to check basically if yeah, let's just do this. So let's have here a code. So I want to inject probably here something. And what I want to inject here is the authentication state provider and out state, let's call task, get set, something like that. And probably we'll also need the navigation manager. Let's call this navigation. What do you think about the idea of having also videos on the channel that kind of like are dedicated to mentoring, like career advice and things like that? Do you think it's useful for you? Cool. And let's have here. Let's have it like a string for now. Username. Okay. And what we'll do here is async task on okay, on initialized. Cool. So here we can see var user, let's call it like this, await okay, authentication state provider is not a task. Okay. Get authentication state async. Okay. And this will actually give here us authentication state so this would give us the authentication state. Let's create first a bare minimum to have this working, and then we'll see how we can improve on that afterwards. Bogdan, definitely. I guess you're referring to the question that I had earlier. If you think that those videos are useful, then yeah, if you want to well have really an insight about what we need to do as developers to stay ahead of the changes that we'll have with AI and ChatGPT, then watch tomorrow morning. starting tomorrow morning, I guess we'll have the video out there. And as said, usually I think, of course, I'm very biased, but I have watched a lot of videos on this topic and a lot of takes. And the main problem is that most of the takes and the opinions are, from my point of view, very emotional reactions, not rational at all. And there are two types of reactions. Like first one, they say, yeah, ChatGPT and AI will totally replace us, so there's nothing you can do about that. And then there's the other, well, take that I think it's very emotional. It's no, it won't replace us. It's actually just a tool, it's a friend. It just helps us to be more productive and write code better and faster, which is yes. So ChatGPT, well, it will not replace us, but it will not just be a friend. It will change the way that we work, and it will automate some tasks. And the tasks that are automated, if we are doing them right now as developers, those tasks, in 5 years, we will not be valuable on the job market anymore. So we need to find ways to kind of like still be valuable on the job market. And kind of like nobody really says that and kind of like pinpoints, okay, you need to do this, 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 and this to stay valuable. But yeah, I guess there are things that we need to do. I think AI still has a long road ahead before replacing us. Bogdan, I don't really agree with you on that, and I can tell you why. One field that most of people don't really follow is quantum computing. There were huge advancements made in quantum computing this year. And if it keeps like that, I think in probably 2 years, maybe 3 at most, we'll have quantum computers running reinforcement learning models. You know what it means? It means that everything that we do now with AI and machine learning will become 1,000 times faster. And at that point, I guess it's not so far away. When quantum computing and machine learning will start to play together, everything will be blazing fast, actually. Okay, so what we have here is, let's say username equals outstate. Outstate should be a claims principal and should be user dot identity dot name. Yeah, it's actually what we want to have here. Of course, there are this can be null, this can be null. So yeah, let's do proper stuff here. Okay, still they don't really. Let's see what does Rider say? What does it propose? Change type to property username to string. Huh? But wasn't string nullable? Yeah, okay, cool. If AI replaces us, doesn't that mean it can actually replace everything? It will not be able, and that's why I watched that video. So AI will not be able to replace everything that we do, but it will be able to replace parts of the tasks that we do. And if, for instance, we are doing tasks right now, or if we are mostly doing in our day-to-day work tasks that are easily automatable, let's say, through AI, then we will become obsolete. So our knowledge and our skills will not bring any value, or will not bring value anymore. And that's why we have to be smart and look ahead and try to actually gain some skills that maybe we don't have right now, but that will actually bring value in 4 or 5 years from now on. And that's all about that. So it will never completely replace developers, but it will be replace parts of the tasks that a software developer does. And if you as a developer are doing only those tasks, well, then you have a problem. So you need to kind of like think ahead and try to kind of like diversify your skill set. Cool. So we have this username is user identity.name. So right now we have this one. Now there is only one thing that I still want to do here is No, actually, for now, I'll keep everything like it is right now. So what we can do here is, let me check, is there any other comment? I would gladly offload tasks such as seeding data, writing details, etiquette to an AI friend. Okay, I agree with you, but probably you have also juniors in your team, and what do those juniors do? They mostly write boilerplate code. So they'll actually, the AI will doesn't really help you, kind of like completely takes over the tasks that other developers would probably do in a team project. Cool. So now we have this type of information. So right now what we need to do here is we kind of like need a label, or we need a menu basically here. So we already have this menu. Let's add some properties to this menu. So first of all, we need a label, and the label is actually what we take from this user name. Yep, it's like this, and I have directly the username, and let's also make it like we did with the others. We set the density to be to true. We set the enter origin like we did for the previous one. Origin, I guess it was bottom left. But now I guess we want to be on the other side, because we are on the other side of the navigation bar. So we're start with bottom right, and we need to set also the transform origin. And that would be then origin. So from right to top left, I guess. Cool. So we have this, and then in the mod menu we can have a mod menu item, and in the mod menu item, I guess we need to kind of like place some information about the account and things like that. So we'll need to group them together. So we'll add another mod container here. Okay. User subscribe. Thank you very much for the subscription. Okay. Quantum computing will reduce the time to break encryption much quicker. Well, won't it? Yes, that's also a thing that quantum computing will probably help with. I feel use AI to learn broader skills, not just developer, but DevOps architect. Yes, of course, and not only developers, by the way. It could be like teachers, whatever, journalists. So but yeah, we are developers, so I kind of like just try to concentrate on developers. But I totally agree, it's not just for developers a problem. I think the biggest next challenge through AI would be for teachers. Like, how do you teach in a world that's actually completely infused by AI? How do you evaluate? These are, of course, some tough challenges as well. Okay, so we have this mod container, and we did for the containers usually. Let's add some flex CSS stuff here and justify content. Justify content not around. I guess start should be okay. And then we need an icon for the account circle. I feel use AI to learn broader skill is not just developer, but developer. Yes. Okay. I guess that was the question that I have already answered. Okay. So what we need, we have this container, and in this container we'll have an icon that will be for the account circle. So let's add a mod icon. And in this mod icon, we already did this previously. We have icon, and here in icon, we have in MudBlazor icons, and we can use the rounded account circle, something like that. And the mud text for this one will be like profile. And when you click on that, you will be redirected to your profile component. But right now we just want to have something in this user menu. Now this means that between these two, we should also add probably some margin. So that's why I can go here and say style equals and margin right. Sorry, select this. Margin right equals 5. Let's add 5 pixel right now. I guess it should be something like that. And yeah, you know what? Let's just keep it like this for now. So we have this user login info, and if actually that's part of this component. So if we are not authorized, we'll see buttons, and if we are authorized, we'll see this one. Okay, cool. So yeah, let's try things out. Yep, let's do something here. So let's run it. Let's run it. Let's run it and see the result. I know it's supposed to have this hot reload feature, but as I said, I haven't really done any Blazor development since January last year, basically. So I'm not really familiar with, yeah, we have an error. What's the problem here? User info, okay. The component parameter used 2 or more times. But where is this? Parameters must be unique. Case insensitive. To be honest, I don't really have any idea why this happens. Let me just build this once again. User info menu at line 3. The component parameter. To be honest, I've never seen this error. It's just maybe if we use it like this, I don't know. Let's try again. Build. So if you have any idea what this could be, can't I copy this? That's strange. I really never had this error ever before with Blazor. Component parameter expanded. This is from Sync Fusion. Case insensitive. Line 3 commas. Where? Oh my god. Yeah, because I'm not sure why I added commas here. Thank you very much. Daniel, if we ever meet, I mean, you're in Australia, it would be a little bit more difficult, but at some point, maybe I'll be around on the NDC Sydney conference, hopefully. If we'll meet, you have a beer. Thank you very much for that. Okay, let me check again. Build. The error didn't go away. Yeah, we have a bunch of warnings, but other than that, actually it worked. Probably those warnings are regarding nullable things. And yeah. Once again, till this page loads, I want to say, please subscribe if you like this content. There are a lot of more videos to come, and you want to be up to date whenever we have new content, because I try to create at least 2 videos each week plus this live stream. So if you just want to be up to date, just subscribe. Also hit the notification bell button, that would be important. And also, if you kind of like want to join our Code Wrinkles community, join our Discord server, get into discussion, get to work on some common projects, join as a member. Or if you don't want to join as a member and you still want to support the channel or this live stream right now because you found it interesting, you have the option to kind of like make a donation through a super thanks or a super sticker. And that would be highly appreciated. So right below the comment box, basically there is that a small icon with $1, and you can just say a thank you, a one-time thank you, let's say, or just use a super sticker. Cool. So we actually loaded this, but we actually don't see anything here. So that's kind of strange. Let's see what console is clean. Console is clean, so what is the problem? Probably we forgot to actually place something somewhere. So let me go once again straight out. So this is the main layout. So in the main layout, okay, we haven't added this. Yeah, of course, we have this MudSpacer. So we need to also add here. Yeah, I have to close this. We need to have here the user menu. Not the user info, user menu. It's this one. So what's the problem with this one? Aha, it's a typo. It's a typo. Yep, now the typo went away. Okay, so now we have so we still have the typo. Don't get me wrong, I will kind of like correct this probably at some other point. But now, so we have right now we have this on the sidebar, and this as a reference to actually also this. And these buttons if you are not authenticated. So let's run it again. Let's run it again. Cool. Okay. Unclosed tag. Okay, yeah, sure. Now. So for those of you who are newer here on the channel, just say hi and let me know where you are watching from. It would be cool to know where you are tuning in from. I know we have Daniel from Australia, we have I guess from Romania, of course. People we have from Italy. Cool. So right now we have this it's just displays username, so something probably went wrong there. Me just look in the console, but no. But you know what? The problem with that username, I guess in this case, was right now that when I started to actually troubleshoot, I removed this @ sign, and I guess kind of like took it literally as a string. So let's run it again. And of course, the other problem is that it's not actually on the right, like I would have wanted it. But I guess I really won't bother with this today. Move it a little bit more to the right. Quick note that the subs goal and member goal overlay means we cannot really see your app bar. Yeah, sorry for that. Let's just move them out. Okay, we got rid of them. We don't need them anymore. And it actually works right now. Here you now see this username. I have this user.example.com, that's the username, and that's the profile. Probably I would still like to have it the transform or the enter origin to be on the left, not on the right. And I really would like to kind of like move the entire stuff here a little bit more to the end. But yeah, let's just try that a little bit. Let's just try it. So what we are in this user info. So origin bottom right. Let's have it bottom left. If we want to be on the other side. And the problem here is we have this mud container. We have this label. Actually not here, but here maybe. I don't know. So yeah. So we have this actually not even here. That should you know what? Let's place this also in a mud container. Like we do with the buttons, and the container, let's so add this class similar to this one, but not on the authorize, but on the container. Cool, something like that. Well, was there anything else that I wanted to solve right now, because I don't recall exactly. This one is I don't know, this should solve the problem. Let's run it once again. Okay, so let's wait. Okay, build succeeded. It's opened it on the other monitor, but I will bring it right on this other one. It actually still doesn't work. Also, probably I have to look into the CSS a little bit to see exactly why. I want it to be actually on the right here. Like I'm not sure, something's not working correctly. But yeah, that's why I hate frontend, because I'm always too dumb to understand CSS. So yeah. Cool. So I guess we're still one step further. So I guess the main achievement right now is that we have kind of like, well, we have the information about the authenticated user in our Blazor app right now. So it means that we can yeah, actually simply use that type of information in our components. And that's kind of like the very first step towards kind of like, well, implementing the idea of we want to have a chess game between two users. And I guess that's right where we will start actually next time out, because I guess right now I'm about to end the stream for today. But if you have any other questions, let's have a short Q&A session at the end. So what other questions do you have? And you can still then subscribe if you didn't do this already, or join as a member, or simply donate. But if you have questions, let's do this short Q&A session right now at the end, and we'll kind of like wrap that up afterwards. Let me check the state of our application here, or of the live stream. And it seems it's everything okay. And by the way, one of the benefits of the members is that members will have access to the recordings of the live streams. So all the live streams are available only for members. I see there's a questions. Always cool. Thank you. Cool. Then the next live session will be next Wednesday, of course. So each Wednesday around this time. So it's either, well, 8 p.m. or 7 p.m. CET or 8 p.m. CET is where I'll start the live stream, and probably we'll continue to work on that, and probably next time we'll be able to kind of like concentrate on this idea of having two players, like pairing those two players together, and also integrating the moves of the players with the JavaScript files that we have to well, to check if the moves are legal, and to render the chessboard whenever somebody does a move, and also restrict that, for instance, if I'm white, I'm only able to move white pieces when it's my turn. So we'll kind of like probably start to look into that and how we do that exactly. But I guess the most important or the nicest thing next time will be this pairing service. Like we need a service to kind of like pair people to play together. So yeah, we'll kind of like probably do that next time. Cool. Then if there aren't any other questions, thank you really very much for tuning in. I guess it was probably the live stream with the highest views count till now. So thank you very much for that. I really appreciate that. It's also a very good way and motivating way for me to start this new 2023 year. So thank you once again very much. It's highly appreciated. And yeah, let's keep in touch, and we'll see each other then next Wednesday at around the same hour. Till then, take care, stay safe, and happy coding.